Hello students, hearty welcome to our class. Hope you are all fit and fine. I think you have watched and got an idea about our previous video, The Emperor's New Clothes. And I also believe you have understood the moral of the story. Let us start our today's session. In our today's video, we are going to learn about the topic active voice and passive voice. And I advise you to keep your grammar and more beside the device to understand the concept easily. Voice. Read this conversation. Gurvi, who packs your tiffin? Annie. My tiffin is packed by my grandmother. Gurvi, my cook packs my tiffin. He always puts in some fruit. Annie, cucumber can also be found in my tiffin. Gurvi, I like to eat cold cucumber with rock salt. What do you like it with? Annie, in my house, cucumber is eaten plain or with yogurt. Means curd. See children, here conversation is between Guruvin and Annie. So the topic what is being discussed by them is about their tiffin or breakfast. Guruvin is speaking in the active voice. So in which voice Guruvin spoke? In active voice. Annie is speaking in passive voice. Okay. I can understand. As still you don't have any idea, how can you recognize? Even though before we start the topic, firstly we should go through some examples that helps you to understand the topic very well. Here what should you understand is, conversation is going on between Guruvin and Annie. Topic is about their breakfast or tiffin. Guruvin is speaking in the active voice, Annie is speaking in the passive voice. Once if you get an idea what is meant by active voice and passive voice, then you can recognize very easily what is the style followed by them. Voice. Definition. The form of a verb that shows whether the subject of a sentence does an action or has an action done to it is called voice. Form of a verb. Verb plays a key role here. Action word. We have also discussed about verbs also children, parts of speech. Noun, pronoun, adjective, adverb, verb. These all already we have learned earlier. So these all plays a key role to learn about direct and indirect speech and active and passive voice. In our previous video we have learned about speech. Now we are going to learn about voice. Here what are they telling? Form of a verb that shows whether the subject of a sentence does an action or has an action done to is. Means whether the subject done the action or something happened to subject. Done to is. Called voice. Rita gave me a book to read. Active voice. Who gave book here? Rita. Here we are speaking about subject. Give me a book. Me, object. I was given a book to read by Rita. Here, action done is given importance in passive voice. Who has done the work is given importance in active voice. See here. A verb in the active voice, when its form shows that the subject is the doer of the action. So here verb in the active voice, action word. What does it show? That form means in which appearance it is there. What does it show? It shows the subject is the doer of the action. Already we have learned children. Subject means doer of the action. Object means receiver of the action. Noun, name of a person, place, animal or thing. So in that only again we are showing variation. Subject, object. Subject means doer of the action. Object means receiver of the action. See here, Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin. It is in active voice. Here we are speaking about subject, doer of the action. Verb is discovered. If you observe, verb is there in different pattern to recognize very easily. Naina drew a bird in her notebook. Drew, verb. Draw, drew, drawn. So here if you observe, Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin. Naina drew a bird in her notebook. Both are there in simple past tense. Discover, discovered, discovered. Draw, drew, drawn. A verb is in the passive voice when its form shows that something is done to the subject. Something is happened to the subject. Penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming. A bird was drawn by Naina in her notebook. A verb in the active voice can be changed to the passive voice. A verb in the active voice can be changed to the passive voice. The carpenter is making a table. Present continuous tense. A table is being made by the carpenter. Always remember, when the active voice sentence is when the sentence in the active voice is a present continuous tense. If you want to change it into passive voice, then being is added. Being after auxiliary verb or helping verb, what will come immediately? Being. You have to remember that, children. Very important point. When we change a verb from the active to the passive voice, note that the object, a table of the transitive verb is making, becomes the subject of the verb in the passive voice. What should you remember here? Immediately when you see a sentence, you have to recognize whether the given sentence is in active voice or passive voice. Anyhow, they give you the heading in grammar and more. But in exams, they will not give you change the following sentences into passive voice, active voice. Do as per the following. Follow the guidelines and do. Like that, in a different way also headings may be given. So what should you remember here? Immediately you have to recognize whether the given sentence is in the active voice or passive voice. If you are able to recognize that 20% of the topic is being understood by you, then immediately what should you do? Recognize the parts of speech. Subject, verb, object. Why? Here doer of the action is given importance in active voice. Then what about passive voice? In passive voice shows that something is done to the subject. Okay, so in passive voice what happens? Subject will come in object position, object will come in subject position. Then the subject and object places change. If they have given pronouns, even those also in their words will change. So don't be confused, children. Try to understand. I am telling you very slowly. Thus only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice because an intransitive verb has no object. About this also we have learnt in our verbs chapter in your grammar and more. What are they telling? Transitive verb means a receiver of the action should be there. Okay, receiver of the action should be there. Then only it comes under transitive verb. Transitive verbs can only be changed into passive voice. Intransitive verbs cannot be changed. For example, see, he seems happy. Where is the receiver of the action there? None are there. So we can't change such kind of sentences into passive voice. Questions can be asked in either of the voices. What will I do today? What will be done by me today? So what can you understand? Questions can be asked in either of the voices. If you observe in speech, while we are changing direct speech to indirect speech, in indirect speech all sentences will be there. But not like that in voice. In voice, questions also will be there in passive voice. Okay, structure changes. That has to be observed by you. No need to feel any sort of confusion. If you are able to follow, more than enough. And one more important point, what should be followed by is, you have to watch all the videos. Cohesion will be there for each and every video. The passive voice is used when we want to highlight the event rather than the doer. I have already told this point in the before slide. While the subject is highlighted, we'll tell in passive voice. Action done by him is highlighted. Then we use passive voice. See here. The Mughal gardens will be open to the public tomorrow. Here it will be open to the public tomorrow. We are not highlighting who is going to open. Just we are giving the information Mughal gardens will be open. The passive voice is also used when one is not sure about the identity of the doer of an action. See here, one more important point they have given here, same meaning only will come. What are they doing? What are they telling? Here we are not sure about the identity of the doer of an action. Passive voice is used to highlight the event, to highlight the task, what is going on there. And at the same time, if we are not sure, we are unsure who is going to do, who is the subject, who is the doer of the action. If you are unaware or unsure or unknown, then we tell the sentence in passive voice. Instead of telling I don't know, simply to tell, to make you to understand very easily. A bouquet of flowers was delivered to the teacher's home. Who has sent it? Don't know. Why did they send? Don't know. Simply then what do we use? We tell it in passive voice. As we are unsure, when one is not sure about the identity of the doer of an action. A bouquet of flowers was delivered to the teacher's home. See here children, below this explanation, they have started exercises in your grammar and more. Before we go through that, I want to give you some important tables. So I have kept these slides also. What should you remember? Immediately after looking at the sentence, recognize whether the given sentence is there in active voice or passive voice. Then identify the parts of speech. What is noun? Anyhow, subject and object means nouns only. But there we are showing the variation between doer and receiver of the action. What is subject? What is object? What is verb? Okay, in passive voice, subject will come in object position, object will come in subject position. And a verb. How can we change the verb? For changing the verb, immediately you have to recognize the tense of a given sentence, whether it is there in present tense or past tense or future tense. Present tense, again 4 subdivisions are there. Simple present tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, present perfect continuous tense. In the same manner, rest of the past and future tense also. So what should you understand? You should have an idea about the basics to understand about voice. If you have any doubts related to tenses or parts of speech, then immediately you stop watching this video. Go through previous videos. Okay, then after getting an idea about those, immediately watch this video. Then you can do the work, assigned work in a better way. Watch the videos regularly. Complete the assigned work to understand well. Then you will not face any sort of problems in your forthcoming classes. We change the object pronouns of active voice to subject pronouns in the passive voice. See here children, the ball hit me. Ball, the ball, subject, hit, verb, me, object. Object pronoun me. Then what happens when we are writing it in passive voice? Me will come in subject position. Then me has to come as subject in passive voice. Then what should we write here? Subject pronoun I. Me change it to I. Okay. The ball hit me. Hit only. It is there in past tense. Then what should you write here? Auxiliary verb I. Here we are telling about singular person. That's why use was. I was hit by the ball. You have to use by. Preposition. By the ball. So here subject has come as object in passive voice. Go through this table very carefully, then you can understand very easily. The ball hit us. If you observe in active voice, all the objects were highlighted as object pronoun. Then how should you use as? How should you use it as subject in passive voice? We. Hope you are able to understand. The ball hit you. You were hit by the ball. Always a you is followed by were. We have to remember that, children. About this, I have given you the same guidelines in your Unit 1, the town mouse and the country mouse, when we are learning about unreal past exercises given in your reading A, town mouse and the country mouse. The ball hit her. Her becomes a she in passive voice. Go through very carefully, children. Very simple topic if we compare with the speech. We can do all the exercises related to voice within no time when we compare with the speech. Now see here. Exclusively, here along with the sentences we have gone through object pronoun, subject pronoun, and how can we change the sentence given in the active voice to passive voice. Here this slide exclusively related to change in object pronouns. In active voice if me, then in passive voice I, us, we, you, anywhere you, it, her, she, him, he, them, they. In active voice they have given object pronouns. In passive voice subject pronouns. Related to pronouns, this table is there in your grammar and more also, children. In pronouns chapter also we have learnt about these. In personal pronouns, first person, second person, third person, singular form, plural form, subject pronoun, objective pronoun. We have also learnt about reflexive pronouns, possessive pronouns, himself, herself, themselves. Try to recall, recollect those all. Then you can understand the topic very easily. The passive is formed by using forms of the verb be. Be means nothing but be forms. Is, are, was, were, have, has, had. Auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. About these also we have learnt in our verbs chapter. That's why I am telling you connectivity will be there for each and every topic. So you should not skip watching any video. The passive is formed by using forms of the verbs be and the past participle form of the main verb. See here. When the given sentence is there in simple present, in active verb form what will be there? I teach or he teaches. Just I have added subject to make you to get an idea. Then how should you change in passive form? Am. If I means am. He or she means is. They means are. Then past participle form. Here an important point what should be remembered by you is always in passive voice past participle form of the verb is used. You are habituated to tell V3 form. Better avoid that. You have to tell simple present tense or infinitive form, past tense, past participle form. Okay, past participle form am or is or taught. Always in passive verb or in passive voice, the verb used by us is past participle form irrespective of the tense they used in active voice. And for that, be forms are added. If it is in continuous tense, being is added. Perfect tense, been is added. Okay. So you have to remember that very carefully, children. Present continuous. Am or is or teaching. See here. Am or is or are being taught. Here in this table they have given you the pro forma. How should you follow the guidelines for changing active voice into passive voice by using be forms or auxiliary verbs or helping verbs? Be forms. One category in auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, children. Okay, here they have used be forms, have forms. So once go through this table very carefully, then you will get an idea. And whenever you start doing exercises in your grammar and more, immediately after recognizing in which tense the sentence is there, then if you get any sort of doubt, how should you write the answer? Immediately go through this slide. Then you will get an idea how should you answer. See here, one more important point they have given below the table. Verbs in the future continuous and perfect continuous tenses cannot be changed in passive voice. So here, future continuous and perfect continuous tenses means present perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense, future perfect continuous tense. These all cannot be changed in passive voice. For example, Mr. Sharma will be taking my interview. Then the children will have been breathing fresh air for a fortnight now. Verbs that indicate state also cannot be expressed in passive form. So here what should you remember, children? So here these will be there in active voice only. They cannot be changed to passive voice, future continuous and perfect continuous tenses. That has to be remembered by you. Verbs that indicate state also cannot be expressed in passive form. So indicate state. Hema remembers her trip to the factory. That cannot be changed to passive form. That has to be remembered by you, children. What should you remember here? Simply you remember, follow this table whenever you start doing exercises. Future continuous and perfect continuous tenses cannot be changed to passive form, and at the same time which indicate a state, that also cannot be changed to passive form. That is more than enough to do all the exercises in your grammar. Changes to verb forms. See here, children, in this slide, if you observe along with the tense, how should you write in passive voice? He likes cooking. Then how should you write in passive voice? Am, is or plus the past participle form of the verb. Cooking is liked by him. Okay, if you follow these two slides related to construction of passive voice, it helps you a lot to avoid mistakes. Simple present tense, present continuous, present perfect, simple past, past continuous, past perfect, simple future, future perfect. Whatever tenses we use to change into passive voice, those all tenses pro forma they have given here. That helps you a lot to do the exercises very clearly, not only in doing, to use the voice while you are speaking with others. That adds beauty to your language, helps the listeners to understand very easily. You have good command over language. Now let us go through the exercises that they have given in your grammar and more. So here I have told you now, children, page number 110. See here, we will go back to the slides once again. For each sentence in the active voice, two sentences have been framed in the passive voice. Tick the sentence which has been correctly changed into the passive voice. Here they have given very clearly, they have given you questions in the active voice and you have to choose the correct sentence in the active voice. Why should you choose? As they have given two options. Rita bakes cakes. Rita, subject, bakes, verb, cakes, object. And it is there in simple present tense. Subject will come in object position, object will come in subject position in passive voice. See here, cakes, there, object. Here it comes as subject because the doer of the action is highlighted in passive voice, in active voice. Event is or task done is highlighted in passive voice, and passive voice is also used when we are unsure or unaware or unknown about the doer of the action in some cases, but here we know already who is the doer of the action. So here only event, what has happened, action, what is done is highlighted in passive voice. That is the main reason for using passive voice. Cakes, object has become subject. Bakes, it is there in the sentence is there in simple present tense. Then while we are changing into passive voice, what should we use? Auxiliary verb or helping verb? Are, because it is singular person, that's why they have used bakes. So here cakes, that's why there they have used bakes, as Rita is singular, third person singular. Okay, there they have given name. Cakes, it is there in plural form, so that's why we have used plural form of the verb are. And we have to use a past participle form irrespective of the tense. Tense is used to recognize how should we write in passive voice. In passive voice, always a verb means past participle form of the verb only will come. Baked, preposition by, Rita. So in the same way, go through all the questions and tick the correct answer. This is the continuation page, children. Below the explanation they have given the introduction of the exercise A. That's why I have gone back to the slides once again. Go through these all questions and answer all the questions. Now see. Do you like reading comic books? Have you ever wondered how they are made? The following sentences tell you the process of creating comic books. Do you have the habit of reading comic books? Are you fond of reading them? Comic books means story books. Have you ever wondered how they made, how they are made? Do you know how do they make? How much ground level work they will do before they come to the market after publishing? So the following sentences tell you the process of creating some books, creating comic books. Here they have given some of the sentences. With the help of those sentences, you will understand how do they make comic books or how do they prepare them. Change them into the passive voice. If the voice of a sentence cannot be changed, mark a cross into mark. The creator of a comic book thinks of a theme. The creator, subject. The creator of a comic book is a subject there. Thinks, verb, theme, object. So it is there in simple present tense. A theme is, as it is simple present tense singular form, here a theme about it is there. We treat it as singular. So we have used the helping verb is. Past participle form of a think, thought, of, thinks of they have given, that's why I have written here thought of, by the creator of a comic book. Always preposition by is mandatory, children. In the same way, go through all the sentences, what did they give. You can understand very easily how much hard work they do before they get a book ready. Enjoy a lot, children, if you go through once. Fill in the blanks to complete the passage in the passive voice. Whenever passive voice comes, same rules and regulations what did we learn until now. Remember that and do the exercise. Your mother has a bad cold. You make tea for her so that she feels better. Your mother is suffering from severe cold. Then you have made a tea as that makes her to feel better. In fact, the tea was so good that your mother wants to know how you made it. So she wants to know how did you make the tea. Use complete sentences in the passive voice to tell her the recipe you followed. You have to use passive voice to tell the complete recipe. How did you make? Here they have given you ingredients, method for making medicinal tea. You can use it in passive voice and complete the exercise. Here they have given you place also for doing. Remember that if the listener knows that you are the doer of the action, there is no need to add by me in every passive sentence. Use the name of the action, doer, only when it is not obvious. So no need to tell, I have added some milk, then I have added some water. No need to use those many times, as already your mother knows that you had made the tea. These sentences have been rewritten in the active voice. Fill in the blanks to complete them. They have rewritten in the active voice, children. You have to use the words to complete the fill in the blanks. Yes, in a different way they have given. This helps you to practice a lot to complete the exercises. Now rewrite the sentences in the active voice. They have given you passive voice questions, you have write in the active voice. That's why I have told you recognition of the sentence in which voice is there is also very important, because in exams they will not give you in a detailed way like this headings to twist you. Rewrite the newspaper report in the active voice. So here they have given you newspaper report that has to be written by you in the active voice. And they have given you project also, children. Carry around a little notebook with you whenever you see a sign that instructs you to do something. Rewrite it by changing the voice. If they have given in passive voice, you write in active voice. If they have given in active voice, you write in passive voice. Very interesting topic to learn, children. You enjoy a lot if you start doing the exercises. That helps you to enhance your communication skills also. Summary. What did we learn about active voice? Active voice focuses on the doer. Passive voice emphasizes the receiver of the action or what happened when we change from active to passive. What did we learn until now? The object of the active voice becomes the subject of the passive voice. The object pronouns change to subject pronouns. The verb changes to passive form by using a form of the verb be and the past participle form of the verb. Go through this summary also carefully. Have a nice day.